Let me start out by saying this. I don't think I'm smarter or better than anybody out there during this COVID-19/Peter pandemic. I don't think I'm smarter than anyone. I don't think I'm better than anyone. When I'm giving you all this information, I'm giving you all this information so that you all can have the truth. I'm only telling you all this so you can have the truth, and with the truth, you'll be able to make the best decision for your life. And my heart goes out to people that have lost loved ones, family, and friends during this tragic time. So I don't want to make light of what's going on, but I want to shed light on what's going on. So it's on record that Bill Gates lied about meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, Bill Gates lied about meeting with Jeffrey Epstein, but in actuality, he met with Jeffrey Epstein several times. Now, of course, Bill Gates will say that he didn't know Jeffrey Epstein was a sex trafficking, sex slave king. He will claim that he had no idea of what Jeffrey Epstein was up to, even though he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, and Bill Gates also gave him $2 million. We don't really know what for because Bill Gates lied about having any business dealings with Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein may be dead, but this story isn't. A shocking new report from the New York Times sheds light on the connection between Microsoft founder Bill Gates and the late Jeffrey Epstein. After Gates' name came up in connection with Epstein and MIT Media Lab, Gates gave a statement to the Wall Street Journal where he insisted he did not have any business relationship or friendship with Epstein. But new reporting from the New York Times outlines numerous meetings between Gates and Epstein and a conversation with Bill and Melinda Gates' foundation, a connection between their foundation and JP Morgan to set up a charitable fund that would financially benefit Epstein. You know what I want to know? Why?
So Bill Gates claims that it was a mistake to have meetings, several meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. It was poor judgment. If he thought Epstein was a good guy, if he thought Epstein was on the up and up, then why would he say he made a mistake? Why would he say it was a lack of judgment? Why wouldn't he say, I was deceived by Jeffrey Epstein? I didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein was a sex trafficking and sex slave king. I didn't know that. Why didn't he say I was deceived by Jeffrey Epstein? Why didn't he say Jeffrey Epstein tricked me? Why didn't he say my all-time favorite, I was a victim?
Joining me now, one of the New York Times reporters from this story, James B. Stewart, who is also the author of a new book I highly recommend, Deep State, Trump, the FBI, and the Rule of Law. Let's start with this. Gates says, no relationship, nada, nothing. You report these two men met at least 6 times. What does Gates say about that?
Well, I believe that there were more, and he and his spokespeople would not say how many in total they actually met. But this included visits to the mansion, seeing each other in Seattle, flying on Epstein's plane, when we all know Bill Gates has his own $40 million plane. And then, as an investigative reporter, why would Gates say, oh, I had no relationship with him, when, of course, he knows what the facts are? So that always sets off red flags for me.
You can't trust these celebrities. These celebrities don't care about you or I. Now, do you for 1 second believe that Bill Gates didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein was who he really was? Do you think for 1 second that Bill Gates, the richest man in the world, would be around somebody and he didn't know who he was around?
Hell no!
Do you think Bill Gates, the richest man in the world, the biggest philanthropist, doesn't know the history on everybody he's dealing with? You mean to tell me the richest man in the world, the most powerful man in the world, doesn't know the history of the people that he's dealing with?
Hell no!
How do you give someone $2 million and you don't know anything about them? That doesn't make any sense. Would he give you $2 million? Of course not. Would he give me $2 million? Of course not. Do you all honestly believe that Bill Gates didn't know who Epstein was.
Oh, hell no! Hell no!
If you and I tried to go around Bill Gates right now, they would do a thorough background check on us. If we were going to have several meetings with Bill Gates right now, be in his presence, be around his wife, be around his friends, be around his colleagues, he would know everything about us.
He ain't playing. You think he playing about his money? You know where my mama stay, know where your mama stay?
In fact, if we had a bad credit score, we couldn't go sit and talk with Bill Gates.
He ain't lying.
See, they trick you with philanthropy. They make you believe that when people are philanthropists, that automatically makes them good people. Your most evil and sinister people hide behind charitable acts and charitable deeds and charitable works. What the media does is the media publicizes these charitable acts, works, and deeds so the average person thinks, oh, this person is a great person because this person really cares about humanity. If Jeffrey Epstein was a sex slave / sex trafficking king, then why was Bill Gates hanging around him? Why was Bill Gates doing business with him? What was Bill Gates' interest with Jeffrey Epstein? If Jeffrey Epstein was this monster, then why was Bill Gates hanging around him?
There have been a number of reports, including in the New York Times, and you know where I'm going with this, about a handful of meetings, if not more, that you took with Jeffrey Epstein after he had been convicted as a sexual offender. And I know that you have said it was a mistake and that it was something that you wished you had not done in retrospect. But I'm curious now, with hindsight, since those stories came out, what you think the lesson of that was, and when you think about that as an experience and this credentializing idea.
Well, definitely, any people with a reputation spending time with him probably gave him an undeserved sense of, being back in the mainstream or not being a pariah. And so my doing that was a mistake. As I go about trying to raise money for global health, which, every extra $1,000 we raise for that cause saves one life. And so we are extremely resource limited. We can buy more bed nets, we can buy more vaccines. In that case, I made a mistaken judgment that I thought that those discussions would lead literally to billions of dollars going to global health. Turned out that was a bad judgment. That was a mirage. None of that money ever appeared. And I gave him some benefit by the association. So I made a doubly wrong mistake there. In general, when we have something like the Giving Pledge, it is tricky when, somebody wants to sign up and you're like, well, but your fortune is really a questionable fortune. There's some countries that we just haven't done any recruiting in at all because we're not, in a position to really make those judgments.
Because you look and you see the corruption.
Yes, that it may have been derived improperly. And I feel bad. We probably will at some point accept someone into the Giving Pledge, and it'll turn out that their fortune, is a disreputable fortune. It is, as you're engaging in this, if you really want to get out there and get, more people drawn into philanthropy, there is a risk that you'll make a mistake.
I hear you. Blanche, you're going too far. I know I'm going too far, but Bill Gates lied about meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. And we've already established that Jeffrey Epstein's clientele list included some of the most powerful people in the world. Why will Bill Gates be an exception?
Bill Gates said yesterday that he made a mistake when he met with sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein while fundraising for his foundation, adding, but if it's any consolation, I killed him. That's right. Bill Gates said yesterday that he made a mistake when he met with sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Gates realized his mistake after speaking with an advisor.
But when you went and met with Jeffrey Epstein a year and a half ago, I read your piece. You knew straight out of the gate something didn't add up. It smelled foul. Bill Gates didn't notice that? One of the smartest guys in the world.
I mean, he's a registered sex offender, and after I rang the doorbell, it opens, and there is a beautiful young woman standing there who I didn't think was 16, but she could have been, 19 or something. And I thought, whoa, a sex offender has a beautiful young woman opening the door. So I didn't even have to go through the door before I realized there's something really weird going on here.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no.
Wait for it. Free Blanche. Get money.